How's it going, guys? So this week on the PhantomCave news, oh, how's it going, guys? So this week we're going live today, and we're going to be talking about this week's live stream. We're going to be talking about the Rhodian column. So I hope you can see that up on the screen right now. Just make sure that it's focusing right. Yeah, so we're going to be having a look at this Rhodian column. You may be wondering, it's one of the latest Phantom issues that has came out from the Few Crew publications. As we all know, we're going to be getting into this. I hope you enjoy this review of the Rhodian column, and let's get into it. So first things first, we've got to have a look at the cover and the front and back cover. So the front and back cover, as I'm showing you up on the screen right now, is done by Alex Tripp. It's one of his best covers to date. Look at that skull cave. So damn good. So damn good. I'm very used to using this. Not used to doing it on thing. Get rid of the dust off, I think. It's got a bit of dust on it. Yeah, got a bit of dust on it. Sorry about that. I'll be showing you the whole wraparound cover right now. That's so damn cool. Look at it. So cool. So very damn cool. So let's get into this story. We're 2 minutes into it. The next issue that would have came out is the drummer special that I think, yeah, it came out just before Supernova special, Supernova, Sydney Supernova, which we all know. I went to it, it was awesome, and then COVID hit. What can you say? I went to it a couple of days after, a week ago, then COVID hit. What can you say? We'll get into the story now. So the Rhodian column is the 252nd Phantom daily story. It features some Rhodian sort of people. It features, we've got no person, that's alright. It features a group of people who's trying to, basically the whole story is a group of people that have fled Rhodia, or Rhodian, as we all like to call it. What I'd like to point out to you is this: from obviously the 9th of September 1948 is when the first Phantom was published in Australia by a few publications back in 1948, and this issue is the 1922nd edition. So I always look for that little number when I'm basically reading comics. I'd like to know what sort of edition it is. I don't care if it doesn't add up with the issue number. It's just a bit of history that I like to use and I like to appreciate and look at. So we'll get into the story as I've just said, and it is obviously a 36-page Phantom story, as you can tell on the front cover. Thirty-six pages, I like to call it. What else we got here? So the Phantom, and as we all know, Baba Buden. I've got it wrong. Why? Babuden. I think I got it right. Let me have a look. Yeah, I got it right. Yes, we actually got something right here. So Baba Babu Den is basically one of the elders of Bandari Nation, I think, Bandari tribe or the Bandar tribe. And he's on the lookout for different things and different things that may be different in the world in his jungle. He's on the lookout for anything that is suspicious to do with people coming into the jungle with no right to come into the jungle. They have their own rights, but they can't because they would get lost or yeah. He's just basically a person that um, is like an insider, a little spy going around the jungle. Plus, Bandar tribe is known for their stealth, and they're known for their poison arrows, as every fan knows. So the Phantom then goes on the lookout for some people that are not supposed to be here. He's on this trail, a path to where a lot of people. This story actually comes around. So this story is actually what you'd call a Mike Manley story. I know everyone would know that if I'd show the panels. Yeah, so it's Mike Manley. I reckon probably one of his, might be one of his first stories. I don't think it would be, but as everyone knows, a lot of people know that with this story, if you've read it, if you haven't read it, please read it because I'm just going to give away some big spoiler that no one really wants, but I'm going to give it away anyway. So back when Paul Ryan, the daily Phantom artist, the one previous to Mike Manley. Let me get that right. I got it right. So Paul Ryan and I think Paul Ryan and Tony D. Paul. Yes, Paul Ryan and Tony D. Paul actually basically they create this character called Katu. And Katu, if you don't know this, Katu is from the Wambezi tribe. So Katu is basically his name, as you'd call it, would be the Python. A lot of people know the Python being an evil character and being evil in general, and he's basically a terrorist. And in this story, I knew about this story, but I don't think I had read it. So it's pretty cool how we have flashbacks to when Diana Palmer, or Diana Walker as you would know it, was in this story where we see her and she's basically, I'll show you the panel. So we see Diana, a flashback, where is it? There it is. A flashback to one of the other stories that she's in, and I'm pretty sure that story is to do with the death of Diana Walker. And as we've been saying in the latest dailies and mostly the latest dailies, as we've been saying in the latest dailies, we've been seeing this story for the last couple of months that's been getting somewhere where we've had flashbacks or we've had things that have already happened before, and that story obviously is, I think, something to do with the Gravelines. So Gravelines is basically a place where a lot of people, they may get executed for not doing the right thing, they may get executed for doing the wrong thing, and they may get executed for no reason. So it's not pretty cool, but it's pretty where the Phantom is heading right now. I say where the Phantom is obviously heading right now, he's not like the Batman. He's not Batman in a lot of ways. The Phantom actually has basically he's sort of what would you call it? He's a He's like the opposite of Batman, but still he's grim. He knows what he's talking about, but he has a humoristic nature about it. So he might be in a tough situation. Say like he in the chapter one of the 1943 Phantom serial, he might be enfooled into going to one of these pits where a crocodile is present, but he's still able to see the funny side of it. He's still able to be a tough man, be a big, bulky, tough guy, and basically see the funny side in it, and then capture those villains who did it to him. So basically, what I'm saying is that I'm up to I watched chapter 4 of the 1993 Phantom serial today, and it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, it is awesome, and like I can say this for because I've been Phantom collector for like 5 years. Little achievement done there. Um, but anyways, I can say that because the Phantom, obviously, he's not one of those real bad guys that like he's not one of those bad guys that like kills a person for no reason or kills a person just because he has to have a reason. He's one of those people where he can have, say, like a humoristic nature to it. Like I said earlier, he can have a humoristic nature to it, and he's able to basically see the funny side, but he's able to also basically track down and get his track down and get the villains. That's all it is. Yeah. Yeah, and leads me back to when it's also leads me back to when they did this story here, and also that leads me back to my earlier a couple of minutes ago when I actually did said something, and I like how they do the flashbacks. I like how they do the flashbacks when they're doing the Phantom Daily strips. It just gives that more integrity that it's a story that we may already know, or if it's a story that you might not know, but you're able to get the backstory on what's happened in the like past 10, 12 years or something. They can have that flashback so that people, if they are reading it, if they don't understand what's happening in the story, they can then have a flashback to tell the the viewer or the audience that's actually reading it, so they can basically tell the audience or the viewer who's reading it to say this is what's happened, or give little flashbacks on what's happened to a Phantom story or daily or Sunday in the past. Yeah, I think it's this story and most of the stories that are coming out right now with the Phantom. I feel that most of it's great colorings, great pencils, great inks by both of the artists. The Sunday artist called Jeff Woogley, and the Monday to Saturday artist, the daily artist called Mike Manley. They're doing an absolute fine job. Just that I feel like I know you have to take into coincidence that some of the times the Phantom is basically in a dark situation. The Phantom may be overcasted in shadow or highlights, or the light will be shining on one part of his face. But I feel like when you do that in the right way, you feel like it's not giving that essence of it's not becoming a Batman, it's not becoming a person that doesn't care about anyone, it's not becoming a person that basically doesn't care about anyone but then shoots someone for no reason. So yeah. And the Phantom's not like that. The Phantom basically he knows his rights and he knows everyone's rights, and what that comprehends to other people is that they might be doing the wrong thing, but they might get away with it, but the Phantom will track them down and basically say, "Oi, I'm the Phantom. Now I'm going to catch you. That's a bit funny. So we also, a while ago in 2011, we had that famous story where Katu is nearly about to shoot the Phantom, but doesn't. So there's another little flashback. The Phantom catches up with most of the people on the trail. He then basically sends them all home. He then calls the general and basically says, "You're not going to get away with this. Even if you go to Wambezi and try and do what the general wants him to do, you're not going to get away with this, and you are not going to even possibly even survive what your ordeal will be very soon." So basically, what he's talking about, the Phantom is basically talking about that the opposition, the enemy, the evil people, they're not going to they're not going to object to what their mission was, or whatever their mission was. And the mission was to basically free Katu, the Wambezi, the terrorist, as I said earlier. You're not going to be able to do that because the Phantom is basically going to step inside and wreak havoc on your lifestyle. No. He's basically going to say, no, you can't do that, and he'll track you down. Like I said earlier, he'll track you down, and you'll probably go to prison or get left with the jury of the chiefs. So then that's where I will show you a couple of panels. This is where the fear factor of the Phantom goes to. He may not be like the Phantom. He may not be like other characters that use brute force over fear and instilling fear in other characters, but he's able to use that fear in a way that scares the opposition into basically receding. And he does that in a way that he is humoristic about it, but he also does that in a way so it scares the living daylights out of the opposition, or scares the living daylights out of the enemy. And he also has like a kind nature to it, so it's pretty cool. So the guy that was supposed to kill the Phantom, I'll show you a panel. This panel here. That guy that's supposed to kill the Phantom. That guy's supposed to kill the Phantom, and he doesn't because Babudan actually puts 2 arrows through his arms, and like basically, I'm on a tree. But Babudan actually, Babudan, as I said earlier, he's basically, the Phantom is in a tight spot, the Phantom, if he needs help, Babudan is obviously most of the time there for it. Yeah, but not all the time that the Phantom is actually going to need some other one's help. But again, that also contradicts where a lot of fans actually say that Diana Palmer or Diana Walker or Rex actually need saving. So, like we saw in the new 3-part series done by Duncan Monroe and Jeff Wilgley, is that a certain character can have their spotlight on a certain story. It just doesn't mean that that certain character doesn't have to get saved all the time. And so the 2 other people that go ahead without contruding Phantom's wishes actually need to get a spear to the head, and they walked out like usual. There we go. Right in that panel, and these 4 panels here. Yeah. the Wambezi basically ambush him and they take him as prisoner. But he doesn't, the Wambezi and the guys, he doesn't actually, the Phantom doesn't actually tell the general and the obsolete guy that's also with him. He doesn't actually tell where Katu is. No one actually knows where Katu is. No one knows where the Python is. So that's another development in the story that most people didn't even see coming. A lot of people, if they've been following the script, for a long, long time, they'll know that something's going to happen and they'll know what will happen in the eventual future. So that's pretty cool. And so the Phantom, I reckon, one of the most famous panels to date in the modern sort of part is that the Phantom actually walks into the cage of Katu. He walks into the cage where the Python is, and Katu, well, is a surprise that you actually asked me. I wrote a couple panels. So it starts with so we've already done the first two panels on the 31st page of this comic. So Katu, the Wambezi, the infamous Python. Now comes the ghost who walks, my jailer. Your own Wambezi people have jailed you, Python. I offered you a permanent parole, as you know. Your cowardness wouldn't have it. Then the Phantom has a flashback to an earlier story. He says, if he fires, his life is over. Maybe mine too. But I will get this shot off. So the next panel asks us, ask me again, Phantom, here and now. I won't disappoint you. And then basically I reckon this panel, that panel right there is, I reckon, one of the best panels that I've seen to date in the modern times. I reckon it's one of the best sort of stance pose. It's one of the best, probably not one of the best, but it's in the top 10 of stances in later Phantom stories. People might have their controversial theories that it's not one of the best ones, it's something else, or it's something that's done by Paul Ryan, or it's done by someone else. So yeah, I reckon can't really contradict other people because everyone has their opinions and all that sort of stuff. But I definitely like how the Phantom and the Python are basically going, basically nearly going at it, but then the Phantom steps out of the cage and the Python is being a coward. Then the Phantom basically whacks him on the nose and he basically has a broken nose to end the story. And then we go back, Phantom is basically asking Babu Dan. I got right, people. I got right. So he's basically asking the warrior, why did you have been sent for me? And he says, as a wise man once told me, no one sends a warrior, old friend. A warrior sends himself. That should be that last panel. I'll show you it. But this last panel, the one on the right or left hand corner, basically sums up that should basically be a jungle quote. That should be a jungle quote. I'm going to take a stab in the dark, and that should be a jungle quote. I'll read it once more. As a wise man once told me, No one sends a warrior, old friend. A warrior sends him. A warrior sends himself. I like that. So we obviously have card sale. Oh, we do. It's basically about Supernova prizes without the Supernova. Boxes $90 each. Packs $4. Slyberry CDs $30 and carton CDs $40. Includes postage and packaging within Australia. That ad's been around for a while. And then we have a new ad that I'm going to show you, and I have 2 copies of the game. The Phantom Treasures of Dracon board game. You can get it at www.phantomcomic.com.au for $135 including postage. Available now from few publications or phantomcomic.com.au. So cool. I have 2 copies again. I have 2 copies. Cool. So if you are just catching this, or if you missed our live stream, we'll be doing, well, next, say, somewhere in August, we will be doing another live stream. So if you would like to comment, like, share, and subscribe down below about this book, what are your opinions about this book, and how do you fancy saying new daily and Sunday stories? Comment down below if you would like to see more daily and Sunday stories in more regular Phantom comics, not just the Christmas specials at the end of the year. Would you like to see more dailies and Sundays published by a few publications? And as always, that's my question for you. As always, keep Phantom Caving, and as always, subscribe, and as always, keep Phantom Caving, and we'll see you next time on the Phantom Cave YouTube channel. See you.